Wild Week, which is a project we're running here in the United Kingdom. It's run by the Wildlife Trusts, encouraging people to go out at least once a day, every day in June, and see something, do something to do with nature. But what I do this morning is show you a few of the moths from the moth trap I ran in my back garden last night. It's been a relatively slow start to the year for moths, and it's not vastly full of things, but there are a few things to look at. So we'll do that fairly briefly. What I'm hoping to do is get something out here on Haps and out from Haps onto other social media platforms every day in June as part of the 30 Days Wild project. So continue to watch this space. You can subscribe to the Haps channel, the link above if you're not on Haps, and hopefully we'll see something of interest every day. Anyway, I'm going to turn this around now and have a look at the moths rather than me. So we will start with this box here. In the moth trap there were these egg boxes that the moths just sit on and rest on, so we can have a look at them. So what we've got here is a light brown apple moth. It's a pretty common moth. We get lots of these. Epiphras post retainer. It's originally from the southern hemisphere, actually from Australia, this species, but it's been established in Britain for well over a century now, and it's one of the commonest moths we get. So there we go, that was light brown apple moth. Another moth that also started out in the southern hemisphere and is now established is Tachystola acrosantha. Again, we get lots and lots of these, common enough species now. Rather a small micro moth. Keeping going. Sticking with the micro moth, one of the smaller moths. This is one of the Parallaid Moths. This is Homeosoma simulella. Hang on. Let me remind myself of the name. Yeah. Homeosoma simulella. One of the Parallaid moths, on the larger Parallaid family. And it has this distinct posture with resting with its antennae flat across its back, which you might be able to make out two fairly distinctive cross lines. Sticking with the micro moths, if we come over into the trap here, you might be able to see, sitting on here, slightly green tone to this moth. This is a bee moth, and the larvae of this live in the nests of bumblebees, genus Bombus, feeding mainly on the old structure of the bee nest, but I think they do probably eat the larvae of the bees as well. So a bit of a brood, certainly guest and possibly brood parasite of bumblebees. It's the bee moth. What else have we got? Let me have a look at a few more of these. Another light brown apple moth. We've looked at one of them. Nothing of interest on there. Nice bright yellow moth here. So this is the Brimstone Moth. People might be familiar with brimstone butterfly, which is a bright yellow butterfly that's pretty common. Well, this is a similar coloured moth, so given a similar name, a brimstone moth. Very bright, very yellow. Although surprisingly, when these sit somewhere in the day, under green leaves, in bright sunshine, with these brown marks on the side, they're actually remarkably hard to see during the day. That bright yellow, which looks like it will be really conspicuous, actually forms something of camouflage, really. Again, a really common species. We get lots and lots of these throughout the year. A few years back, several of us across the country collected examples of these and sent them off to somebody, sent a small number of specimens off to someone who was doing a study of the isotopes that are in the wings formed by formed when they were caterpillars and formed from the water that they were drinking at that stage, or they were consuming at that stage. And the purpose of that was to get a sense of whether you could tell where in the country insects had come from the chemical isotopes. He's just published the paper on that. I can't remember the person's name now. But that gives another way of studying insect migration. So it's quite an interesting project to be involved with. Well, for this morning anyway, just a brimstone moth to look at. And then probably the last moth I'm going to show you this morning. Another species that is common. It's a light brocade. It's another species, I say it's another common species, but it's not one that I get particularly frequently here in my garden trap. So I was quite happy to see that this morning. Probably get one most years, but it's certainly not one of the species I see every time I run a moth trap or when I run a moth trap during its flight season. So that was a nice one for me, a light brocade. And what I think we'll do, I think we'll probably stop there on that one. It's a brief broadcast as part of the 30 Days Wild project. Do try to get out every day in June, every day of the year, really, every day in June, and do something, see something of the nature and the wildlife wherever you are. Well, good morning and thank you.